me just scroll all the way up, and there we go.
Welcome. G'day. Wow.
So good evening, Australia. Good evening, New South Wales.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Welcome to the stop number 3, New South Wales of the Libel Line Gin Tour for 2021. We're super excited tonight, and thank you so much for joining. We've got some incredible distilleries and producers in here tonight, so it's going to be a fantastic tasting.
Exactly.
You've got your samples there in front of you, and we'll explain everything as it goes on. For those of you who it's the first tasting you've done with us, welcome. Thank you so much for joining in, and for those who are veterans or have done a couple, thanks so much for coming back.
Many of our regulars in here. We've got Jennifer, Laura, Ellie, Shana, Laura, Miles, Zoe. Wow, this is 84 right now cameras, so we reckon close to maybe 100 and something more. Paul, Anthony, Elizabeth, Beck, of course, she's there.
A great crew. So
yeah, Warren will be somewhere in there too.
So tonight we've got 7 distilleries joining us. With the things that have been going on with like postage and that sort of thing, it's been a little bit hard juggling getting like everyone all the gins. So that's why we've gone 7 distilleries, and some of you might have a gin that you don't have in the pack, but everyone's at least got 6 gins in front of them tonight. So we can have 6 amazing G&Ts with these wonderful Fever Tree tonics. So let's get stuck straight into it. And
let's start to introduce our guests.
Everyone who's joining us tonight. So
yeah.
To start off the bill from Stony Creek Farm Distillery, we're joined with Gavin. Gavin, how are you, mate?
I'm doing really well. Hi, everybody.
There's Gavin.
Hope you're having
no, we can't hear you, Gavin. Sorry, it's just me. There we go.
We're on.
Yes, we're on. I can hear you now. Yes.
We're live.
We're live. Gavin, how are you going?
First outing for about 6 weeks.
That's it. Mate, thank you so much for joining tonight. And we fell in love with you last tasting with the Connoisseur Gin. So yeah, we're so excited to try this Admiral tonight.
Thank you that he's joined again. You know, a veteran of our gin tastings, I must say right now, all the way from New South Wales. So amazing.
So good to have you. From the Jones and Smith Distillery, we've got the crew there tonight. I think Nick Smith is joining in tonight. How are you?
Yep.
How are you, Nick?
G'day, everyone. Our first time doing anything like this, so we're pretty excited to get our stuff out there and see what the feedback is.
Amazing, mate, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for joining.
It is a cracking gin, and the feedback's going to be very positive, and I'm so excited for everyone to be able to try.
Dot and Tony should be somewhere here too. They're the actual owners of the whole setup, so hopefully they can hear me somewhere.
Yeah, and when we get into the gym, we can jump between both of you guys as well, if you like.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
From the Dobson distillery from down in Kentucky and New South Wales.
We got Stephen.
We got Stephen. Stephen, how are you, mate?
You're muted there. Just gonna hang on. I'm asking you to unmute. You gotta click there. We go.
No, okay. Hi guys, how are you? I'm very good, no complaints. Once again, I'm a video tasting virgin, so be gentle. It's my first time.
Well, we'll be delicate with you. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cracking distillery. You have Stephen, and I can't wait to share it with everyone for everyone to try this gin.
Amazing.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
First one, yeah. So good, Stephen.
So thank you, Stephen. From Murray's Brewing Cove, the Gaia gin. We've got Carl here. And
hey, guy.
Invite you guys in a tasting as well. So thank you so much for joining. How are you going, man?
Yeah, good. This is obviously my first time as well, so we'll see how we go. It's pretty exciting. I've got all my little brews set up, so awesome. Looks good.
Ready to go.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, mate. And,
thank you for joining.
I'd like to crack into yours as well.
For sure.
From Young Henry's there, in Newtown, brewery and distillery favorite. We love you guys and everything you do. We're joined by the amazing head distiller Carla tonight. How are you?
Here is Carla. And how are you, Carla? We can hear you. No. Maybe your mic. You're unmuted.
Could be some sort of mic little play aroundy thing, but
can you hear me now?
Oh yes, perfect.
Okay. The classic ad. Yeah, look, it's great to be there, and thank you for the flattery. It will get you absolutely everywhere. I'm looking forward to tonight. I don't actually have any of the gins, so I'm looking forward to Monday when they arrive.
Oh no.
Oh, you're one of those deliveries that got stuck. Oh God.
There's a couple of those. So
I'll-
thanks for joining and sharing it with us.
I'll do my best to drink along with you.
I hope you've got your full bottle of your Noble Cup there and enjoy them when they come. And for anyone else who's in a similar boat, the gins didn't quite get there. Thanks so much for your understanding. It's been a pretty interesting time with postage,
I
to
know.
say the least. And it's been amazing how gracious everyone has been with all the delays and that sort of thing. So thank you so much, and can't wait to try this awesome one from you tonight, Carla.
And what do we got
Now we're
after?
gonna jump to Murray's Brewing Co. We've been to Archie Rose. We're joined by the
Oh, mate.
massive friend of the house, Paul. How are you, Paul?
Gentlemen, I'm good. Thank you, Jono. It's a pleasure to be back. It's been too long. I'm looking forward to it. And congratulations on swooping in and bagging the gin we've just released that no one else has tasted. So I'm pretty excited about getting it out there and seeing what people think.
Yeah, we're super lucky to be able to try this bone dry gin tonight. And I guess it is sort of the first tasting that it's really been in like this. So
It's one of
we're
those
very lucky.
kind of cheats that we got, because we know Paul from so long, and he's
Yeah.
very kind with us, and we're allowed to have this in a primo condition for Australia.
Happy to help each other out.
Happy to help each other, yeah.
And thank you so much, Paul. Can't wait to try that one. From Murray's Brewing Co. With the guy at Citrus Gin, we've got Carl there. Who we've gone to Carl already.
Yeah, you've already had me. I think you've got Erp. They haven't been up yet.
Then that rounds us out. So over to Distillery, to the boys there. How are you guys? Thank you so much for joining tonight.
Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it. And it's so good to, even if it is over a Zoom meeting, we can see some friendly faces and people we know and enjoy a nice drink on a lovely Friday afternoon. So thanks for having us again, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Love you guys and your work, and this portside is cracking gin. So excited to try it there. The gin that we're going to have from you guys tonight. So without further ado,
Yeah.
Jose, who's thirsty?
We all thirsty, and we want to kick off.
Let's
with
get a
this.
little bit of gin in our glass. So
Yeah.
the tasting order that we introduced everyone with, that's how we're going to go tonight. We'll explain all the pairings as they go, and everything will be pretty self-explanatory. So you guys just get to sit back and relax and enjoy.
And
a few
enjoy it.
gins.
Yes,
So
correct.
we are going to start with Gavin there at North of Eden Admiral. So if everyone wants to get a little bit of the Admiral in their glass, and obviously the way we like to do this is have a little bit of a try of the gin neat before we put our tonics and our mixers in and we make ourselves a G&T. So as we pour it in and before we put our mixer in, Gavin, thank you so much again for joining. And how's everything going at Stony Creek Farm Distillery?
Well, I'm one of the lucky ones, given that I live on 12 acres. So I've actually got somewhere to walk around instead of just inside a backyard. But thanks so much for inviting us along again. And thanks for showcasing our Navy strength gin, which is our Admiral.
So Jono has decided to throw us on the deep end with Navy strength to begin with.
Yeah,
Well, nothing wrong with
let's
that.
get it going.
Best way to get the party started.
I reckon after this week, we all need a Navy string just to kick off anything today.
We do.
Absolutely.
Tell us about everyone else who doesn't know North of Eden, where you guys are at. Where's the distillery, and for how long you guys been distilling?
Yeah, so we're located just north of Eden, but actually just 10 k's north of Bega on the south coast of the beautiful Sapphire Coast of New South Wales. The distillery's been open for 3 years. I've been distilling alcohol for close to 30 years. So, but this is a new adventure for me. But the Admiral that you've got, we love this gin. It's got one of the really unique features of this is it showcases what's called courage on the seeds. Now they're native to this area, and what it does for this gin is it gives it this beautiful long finish. And hopefully when you try this, it's a little bit sneaky, this gin, because it doesn't really drink like it's 57%. But I can assure you it is, And if you drink it like it's not 57%, you may get yourself into a little bit of trouble a little bit quicker than normal. Oh, I've lost the sound on you guys.
You're muted there, Jose.
Oh, sorry,
Muted
sorry,
ourselves.
I muted.
We were saying how amazing this gin is in terms of the almost maritime profile you get for it, which I guess echoes where you are.
Quite saline, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got that little bit of spice which you get on the side of your tongue, which was supposed to make a little bit reminiscent of some of those seafaring sort of spice rum traditions. So just trying to get that sort of sneaking through on the profile.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've done sensational. What a cracking gin it is. For those who aren't used to drinking a 57% spirit straight, let's put a little bit of a tonic in there and make ourselves our first G&T of the night. And as we do, Jose, I'll introduce the wonderful Trish, but the pairing for this one, we're going to go with the Fever Tree Mediterranean. And in your garnish bag, you should have a little bit of an orange. Now, we're going to use orange for 2 of the gins tonight. So if you want to split that one in half, that way it'll work well for both of them. So don't pop your whole dehydrated orange in there, just pop in half, and then the Mediterranean tonic. And as we do, Jose, can we introduce the wonderful, amazing Trish Brew?
I think our mic is a little bit low.
Well, we'll pump
Yeah,
that
I'm
up.
trying to pump that up. Yeah. And as we put a little bit of ice in our garnish, we are going to get Fever Tree Trish. Fever Trish, how are you, Trish?
Hi guys, I'm so great. Thank you so much for having me. I was actually, hello Gavin, good to see you again. We've done a few of these together now, haven't we? So good to be back, and it's so great to try your new gin. I was actually telling someone the other day that this is for me the most exciting tasting going around, because it's the closest thing I have to, you know, working in a bar again and having all the regulars come in, and, you know, you get to have a drink and be merry together. And it's certainly what we need right now. And just so excited for a couple of new gins tonight. And wow, Gavin, yeah, that's so maritime, isn't it? So intriguing. And, you know, being in Victoria myself at the moment, it's like blowing a gale outside. So I think that this is just this really appropriate flavor profile to kick off. And with that Mediterranean tonic, it's just really like makes it pop, and it doesn't overshadow those botanicals too much. I mean, what could at 57%? But I think it's quite delightful. Yeah, lemon thyme and rosemary in that tonic, yeah, really just makes that pop. I'm a huge fan. Really great with orange too. I think that's really delightful. What do you think, Gavin?
Well, this gin actually has got a thick layer of blood orange in its botanicals. So the orange that goes in it with the Mediterranean tonic really does just set it off, we think. And that's how we serve it. We actually serve it with a slice of blood orange, because that's actually these sort of oranges that we use in the botanicals that we grow on farm. So all of the citrus that goes into this, we actually grow on the farm, and we get the Currajong seeds. They come from a tree up the back. We shake them out of their pods and crush them and put them in. But, you know, we think that all of our gin should actually speak to the place where we are. And so that's what we try to achieve.
Yeah, and you do it no end means, and this is just a sensational gin and a great one to start the night off. Already the feedback in the chat is amazing, and
I'm loving it.
Why.
It's like such a great example of Navy strength, modern Australian style of gin. Yeah. Technically, it's flawless.
Yeah.
You know, and it's my kind of gin, more savory than fruity. Yeah. You know, it's like more. I can imagine this, Gavin, on a Gibson. This would be delightful. Crazy. That salt with the onion and.
What are some other ways that you like to showcase this one at the distillery with the Fever Tree Mediterranean?
Well, all of our staff at the distillery and our cellar door, and most of our regulars now, always ask for their Negroni to be made with this, because in a Negroni, this really does pop. That little bit of orange that comes through, which is in the foundation, and also, you know, that little bit of extra oomph just sits so well in a Negroni.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask a question to Trish, which, she was one of the best bartenders in Australia for a very long time,
Particularly the
until
gin
she
scene.
hung her apron for Fever Tree, actually.
Another apron.
Yeah, another apron, different apron. Trish, if it was not with tonic, what cocktail would you recommend people to try this, or what would you, that's your experience?
Oh my God, absolutely. Well, there's a couple of things that spring to mind. Firstly, just this screams mint to me. Like, I love blood orange and mint together. The herbaceousness of this gin would be really great in like a south side with fresh lime, a little bit of sugar, really cold, shaken and served up. I'm so intrigued to try this one in a martini. I don't know why. I've never been a dirty martini drinker, but lately I have just been fiending some cold pressed olive brine. And with this gin, I think it would really knock your socks off. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. That sounds like a time. I'm very into that.
Yeah.
So, Gavin, I guess we always like to ask, and it's a question that we'll ask most people tonight. In terms of Stony Creek Farm Distillery, you guys have been going and doing some amazing things for the last 3 years, and your classic, your connoisseur, your Admiral gins are superb and tell such a great story of the ecology and location of where you are. What sort of things are you guys working on at the moment, and what sort of stuff can we expect from you guys over the next little while?
Well, as it happens, we've just been working on a new gin, which we hope to release in the next couple of weeks. So the Sapphire Coast is also known as the Oyster Coast. And so this is our newest addition to the family. I don't know if you can see that there, but this is our oyster shell gin. So quite a different botanical to use, but I can tell you the oyster shells change the mouthfeel of this gin just sublimely, and it makes a cracking martini.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, and you guys
We're
are
one of the 3 distilleries in the world that actually use oyster shells.
Yeah, and from memory, the distilling with oyster shell as well, Gavin, gives off a really beautiful texture, right?
It does. It does. The mouthfeel on this is just sensational.
Yeah.
Finally I fixed the microphone. Sorry, I was fiddling with settings. So let's suppose we are out of lockdown by Christmas, as we all expect. We cross everything. How these people can go and knock your door? Do you got a cellar door? They come and see you, Gavin?
Yeah, well, hopefully one day we'll be able to open our doors again, but you can sort of see in the background here, this is actually our cellar door that I'm actually broadcasting from.
Yeah.
So we've got a lovely sort of garden area here where people can sit outside, enjoy everything that the views have got to offer over Mount Numbala.
Amazing.
But obviously, while we're not allowed to travel and all that sort of stuff, we're still available online. So northofeden.com.au, everybody can still access our products.
Yes.
But we're so looking forward to the day where we can have a crowd again, because we love it when people come out here and sort of experience what this part of the world's got to offer.
And if anyone wants to purchase anything tonight, or remember we have this code, Gavin, and you remember about this. Like my religion says that I cannot give discounts, and I'm not allowed. But only for the duration of this tasting, actually until tomorrow midday, we have a code which is Juniper, and we give 10% off on our whole website, just to support the people that comes to these tastings.
So we've got a few bottles of most of the gins that we'll be trying tonight available there with the discount, but we also encourage, go check out these guys' websites as well, and now's as good a time as any to help support.
Yes, correct. Gavin will probably have a lot more products that we do have from
Yeah, we got the Connoisseur and the Admiral,
and also most likely Gavin has a newsletter, and you should join, because I would say Gavin would let everyone know when he gets new releases all the time.
Absolutely.
So we put out a newsletter once a quarter, so we won't bombard you with emails, but we will keep you up to date with what's happening in this part of the world.
That's it. So Gavin, thank you so much for joining again tonight, and we can't wait to continue trying this one as we go on. And it's been great to have you in here for a second time.
It's my pleasure, guys, and thank you so much for inviting us along. It's been great.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Gavin.
Stick around and watch what else goes on.
Yeah, amazing. And what I will say to everyone is we've got 7 amazing gins tonight. We're probably going to go through at a pace of maybe 15, 20 minutes per distillery. That's probably a little bit too quick to have a G&T. So have a few glasses in front of you. And so then at the end, you've got a couple of G&Ts to enjoy for the rest of the night. The distillers that are joining us as well, hopefully you guys will hang around, and for those who have got a pack as well, be able to keep tasting on too. For gin number 2,
I'm ready for number 2.
Number 2, let's get it.
Bring
going.
it on.
So for gin number 2, we're heading to Jones and Smith Distillery. The first time that we've been joined by this amazing distillery, and a cracking gin we've got from you guys, the Epoch dry gin. So if you want to pour your little sample into your glass now, we'll have a bit of a try of it as we say g'day to you there, Nick. How are you, mate?
G'day, how are you?
We're really well, and
Nice to meet you, man, and thank you for joining for the
You
first
too.
one, gin tasting. You joined a really good one, you know, like we got over 150 people watching, so
it's great to be able to show everyone your spirit. I guess as we try a little bit of this gin, before we get too much into the pairings and that sort of thing, I'd love to hear a little bit about the distillery itself, you guys, and your ethos and where you are, that sort of thing.
So we're located in central west New South Wales, sort of between Bathurst and Orange. The distillery was probably the dream of Dot and Tony Jones, and then me and my wife make up the Smith side of it. So it sort of just made sense to go that way. We originally started distilling whiskey. We started that way, and then we delved into the world of gin, which has been just an amazing experience. We honestly didn't realise how big the Australian gin industry was. So it's been exciting, and we've learnt a lot over the last couple of years.
And it's amazing to see what you guys are doing, and whenever you say whiskey, Jose's ears perk up here a little bit as well. You do that. We're a big fan of whiskey here at Casa de Vinos too. Can't wait to delve a little bit more into your distillery as well. But in terms of the gin we're trying now, the Epoch dry gin, your signature gin, 17 botanicals, and impeccably well balanced. To me, a lot of citrus jumps out, and I'm a massive fan of quite citrus forward gins. What was your sort of thought process and goal with this gin?
So we tested and just tried lots of different combinations of different botanicals, and we found, like you said, that citrus really came out to us, and it was something that we enjoyed. So we added quite a lot of citrus into the gin, among other botanicals, and after a little while, it sort of just came out as a nice balanced, just a dry gin, which we enjoyed, and then luckily everyone else started to enjoy it too.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some great comments in the chat. Everyone loving this. Refreshing, and the citrusness is just gorgeous. And if you do have any particular questions in the chat for the distillers and the representatives here you'd like to ask, throw them in, and I'm sure they'll see them or we'll see them, and we can talk about them as we go. In terms of the pairing for this one, we're going to pop in a little bit of Fever Tree Indian. So if you want to grab your little Fever Tree Indian tonic, and the garnish for this one is going to be a little blood orange. I'm just going to get a little Fever Tree Indian.
Get a bit of ice in here, a bit more ice in there.
And this is a gin that's got a lot of a lot of amazing botanicals in there. And I always find with a gin like this, that has that sort of quite refreshing quality, but is also really big in terms of the forwardness of the botanicals, that the Indian tonic is a gorgeous one to go for. The blood orange, pop that in there as well. And Trish, what do you think about the Epoch dry gin here from the Jones & Smith distillery and the pairing?
Wow, firstly, the gin on its own, just great mouthfeel, like really great texture. And I agree, 17 botanicals, like, wow, they just are really well balanced. This is just, yeah, really well done, I think. Really keen to taste this one with a little bit of tonic. I agree, I think it'll work really great with the Indian tonic because the botanicals are quite bold. And with the tree Indian tonic water, it was designed for those more classically bold styles of gin that are quite juniper dominant and quite rich. And I think, the Mexican bitter orange oils we use in there and that heavy whack of quinine, will work really great with this one. Delish. I'm a huge fan.
I found this very nice just on its own, and now it's savory, but also kind of a little bit of umami. Not just lets itself drink really well. I would say like an aperitif gin, something that you start the night with. What do you reckon, John?
Yeah, I think that is absolutely the nail on the head. A cracking gin, and as your sort of signature gin, it tells a pretty good story of what you guys are trying to do as an amazing distillery. In terms of, let's go back a little bit while we enjoy our G&T, Nick. Let's talk a little bit about the people behind Jones & Smith Distillery and how you came to end up in a position to open this awesome distillery.
So it probably goes back to 2017. My father-in-law, excuse me, Tony, always had a dream of opening a distillery and just always thought it was going to be just never going to happen. And certain things fell in line and he was able to start dreaming and just sort of started the ball rolling. My wife, Kylie, started to help him achieve the dream. And then at the start of 2018, we started with the whiskey, and then it's sort of just slowly snowballing, growing a bit of pace, to the point where we're sort of looking at bigger and better things for the future.
And an incredible sort of humble start, but I can see with this gin and from what I can hear about your whiskey, you guys have an incredibly bright future ahead of you. What are the sort of things
what's coming
at the moment?
What's exciting?
Yeah, you're talking about the bright stuff because we love it. We love the gossip.
Yep.
That's what it's
well, on top of the 4 gins that we have, I'll start with the gins. We've got a Navy strength that we released at the same time as our signature. And then probably 2019, we released 2 more gins. They were a flavoured gin. There was a slow gin and a cherry gin that we used local cherries for from the Orange region. And then over the past couple of years, the single malt whiskey has been maturing in its barrels in the distillery. Plus we've got some brandies maturing as well. So we're aiming for the end of the year, possibly the start of next year, to release that other whiskey.
Sounds like you've got all the good stuff on the go.
I got one of those questions that I make to John hates when I do this question, but it's like,
do you botanical question?
Yes, you know.
I like
it. He likes the question. What is your, like, you can say juniper, of course, but what is your favorite botanical? Is something that you go recurrently, it's like, drives you, it's like, it's, could be like orange, could be, you tell me, or something that you love experimenting with, or as an anecdote, something that you just can't find a way to work with and you try, look, like anecdotes like that, production anecdotes.
Yeah. Personally, I always love the combination of the lime and chili. I'm always pushing Tony to put more chili in. He's always reluctant to do that. But yeah, I just love that lime chili combination.
amazing.
Yeah.
I like chili and lime.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm Uruguayan, of course, but that sounds like Mexican, left, right, and center. That sounds like should be on everyone's dinner plate every night.
Yeah. No, you can't go too wrong with that. And you guys as a distillery, how can we, I guess, support you at the moment with the way lockdown is? Can we, have a look and sign up to your mailing list? Can we check out your other stuff you've got going on the website? And then on the other side of the coin, when things do open back up, can we come visit you guys? What have you got in terms of the tasting room?
So we've obviously got a website with mailing lists, and you can purchase through that website. And in terms of cellar doors, we're currently in the planning stage of opening up a new distillery with cellar door, and and hopefully something nice. And
just to hang you up there, I just been sorting out something on the background, which we didn't upgrade our Zoom license, so we were at a limit. Now we upgraded the license so everyone else can join. If you got a friend that couldn't join by chance, they can join now. I was just on the back end sorting out the Zoom license. Sorry about that.
So I think we got pretty much everyone in, but
it was up to 100, so I couldn't go above 100.
It's been a while since we've had a big tasting like this. And you got to upgrade the license when you get a bit above. So we'll have a few more people come in now, which will be great.
Yeah.
In terms of this gym we're on now, what a cracking one and a fantastic one for the second gin.
This is session.
Yeah.
Like this is session. Like you're down half a bottle on a Sunday afternoon, having a barbie with a couple of prawns. These people from New South Wales, they got such a good weather.
Yeah. You can't go too wrong with this one. So Nick, thank you so much for joining in tonight, man, and allowing us the opportunity to try this one. It's the first time we've had you guys in a tasting, and it definitely won't be the last, because there's a lot of skill that has gone into the distillation of this. There's a lot of finesse, and you guys are onto some really amazing stuff.
And I just want to make it just a little fun about the back label, which is stunning. I like that.
It is a feature of what we tried to create. We didn't just want to create a good gin. It was about the way the bottle looked as well. So we were quite.
Well, everything needs to look to craft distilleries. You cannot let anything down. You gotta do as much as you can, and continue innovating. And it's part of the. Sometimes the lack of being small is you got a lot more. What do you say? Ways to play. In Spanish, we say cintura, like ways to. Like you can room to move. You can, it's not so rigid, and so it's great. I love your packaging and amazing gin too.
Thank you so much for joining, guys. It's been cracky, and hope you can stay in and keep enjoying the rest of the.
Keep doing good work,
and we can't wait.
They're trying to keep the kids away.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers,
You're
guys.
welcome, man. Thanks for joining.
So much. And time to jump on to gin number 3, and I guess in thought to keep the tasting in the time, I probably only spend 15-20 minutes on each distillery, but I wish we could chat to each of them for hours, because the producers, every single one of you guys that we've got in tonight, are doing some amazing stuff. Just like the third gin and the third distillery we've got in tonight, Dobson's Distillery from Kentucky and New South Wales. If everyone wants to grab their blush gin and pour out their little sample into their glass, as we welcome Stephen Dobson, distiller, and probably not too much you don't do down there at the distillery. How are you, mate?
Where is he? I can't find him now. Oh, there he is. He's muted.
There he is.
There's too many pages. You're muted, Stephen. Come on, let me get you to unmute. There we go.
Right. Sorry, it was telling me I couldn't unmute. Sorry about that. Well, thank you very much for having us on board. Thank you.
No, it's great to have you guys in, and an amazing little distillery you guys are, and so many beautiful spirits, and there's a lot of quirk around what you guys do, which I just love and I'm so passionate about. I guess it being the first time we've had you guys in on a tasting, and as we all try a little bit of this blush gin, tell us a little bit about Dobson Distillery, where you are, and your
how long you started?
I started distilling as a hobby when I was in my 20s. I'm in my 60s now, and I was lucky enough to be living in New Zealand when they made it legal over there. And I raced out and quickly bought a 100-litre still with a 12-foot 4-inch column because I was sure they'd shut that law down. And that was the beginning of the journey. So we've been here 17 years now. I was a cinematographer for much of my life, and it was my hobby. And unfortunately, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor some years back, had to walk away from the cinema side. This was the one thing I loved apart from that. And so it was just a no-brainer to go into this.
And
I
so
love it.
Dobson's, for how long Dobson's has been going?
17 years.
17.
Yeah.
We love your artwork. And
I think the cinematography background that you explain out explains a lot about your amazing website, the beautiful intricate artwork on all your
if no one
logos.
has visited Stephen's website, please do.
Yeah.
Because it's very eclectic and amazing, and that is what a brand represents. You know, it gives homage to what a brand is, right?
It does reflects my life from Hollywood. So my last movie was Moulin Rouge, and I think that's reflected in our labels and our look.
Moulin Rouge, but not on stage, right? On the other side.
No, the movie, I shot the exteriors of Paris and all the special effects.
That's what it's a mix of Paris in 1940s, 50s, kind of art deco.
The Belle Epoque.
Belle Epoque, exactly, Belle Epoque. That was gonna yes.
You've got it there, Jose.
Art deco sounds like Belle Epoque.
The gin that we're trying from you guys tonight is this wonderful blush gin, and a beautiful bouquet of florals, and the strawberries are just sort of elevating out of the glass for me. The pairing we're going to go for this one tonight for those who prefer getting a little bit of a tonic in there and having a G&T is going to be the obviously the Fever Tree Naturally Light with a little bit of a grapefruit there. So pop in a little bit of Fever Tree Naturally Light.
But before you do, I want to see, this is cotton candy.
Cotton candy, yes.
Cotton candy. Smell this by itself. It's cotton candy.
Can I tell you what the influence was that brought it about?
Yes.
I was sitting, I normally, because we use so much power here, I often start the stills at 5, 6 in the morning. And that way we can sort of switch down before the local area turns on breakfast. But I was sitting there, and I've kept a journal for 40 years, and I wrote a silly question at the top of the page, which was, what's the flavor of spring?
Yep.
And when I answered it probably 30 times, but the one that stuck out to me was my grandmother's perfume. Right. It was a crazy memory. I spent 2 years living with my grandparents because when I was 9 years old, no one told you if your mother had cancer. They just shipped you off to the relatives. Yeah. And I remembered her. Funny, I find memories from smell almost stronger than memories from sight. Yep. And so I decided to make basically a gin that was based on her perfume. That's my memory of it. And I remembered it was very strawberry and hibiscus and floral, quite heavy sort of rose. It was a lovely thing. And so that's what drove this gin. It's one of 6 gins we have out at the moment, but that one is probably our lightest, most floral.
And I had an auntie that smelled like roses, and another one that smelled like old cupboard.
Yeah,
we all had an old cupboard auntie. Who didn't have an old cupboard auntie?
Nostalgic sort of memory with that.
And you remember the auntie because of the old cupboard.
I must say, from a distilling perspective, doing something like this, recreating a perfume or that sort of vibe, can be very, very difficult in trying to harness something that is absolutely gorgeous like this without taking it to a point where perhaps one botanical flavor is really overpowering. It's a lot of finesse has gone into gin and
agreed. This is a 3-stage process. The first stage is vapor infusion of 27 botanicals. Then we do a vacuum infusion of strawberries, and we then do a freeze filter of the strawberry. Strawberry is very hard to deal with. It leaves lots of protein. It's very hard to get clear. So we do that separately. And from there, it's just a bit of hibiscus and we're off. We're good.
Yeah.
And it is just a stunning gin, and I'm absolutely loving this one. The pairing, again, we're going for this one is the Fever Tree Naturally Light with a little bit of grapefruit as the garnish. And I think the reason the Fever Tree Naturally Light goes really, really well with this one is it's got such delicate, subtle flavors in the florals and the strawberries popping through there. The Naturally Light just pops in there behind it and makes this beautiful highball and a cracking one at that. Trish, what do you think of this Dobson Distillery gin and the pairing here that you've put with it tonight?
Oh my gosh. Well, firstly, like Stephen, you're incredible. I actually used to stock your New England Dry Gin Palace for quite a few years, actually. And I remember, with the first time I, was, searching around for new gins coming out of the woodworks, I came across you guys and your website is just, oh my God, it's crazy. And it's so great to hear your story. And I think I talk on behalf of everybody because the chat's going wild for you. It's just, your storytelling is so incredible and it really does translate into the liquid, if that makes sense. So I'm such a huge fan of yours. I could listen to you all day, to be honest. With the Naturally Light, that is just, it really pops. The Refreshingly Light Fever Tree, because it's like quite low in sugar, we use fruit sugar. It doesn't overshadow any of those subtle botanicals. It's got a bit of sherbetiness to it. Yeah, I think this is just divine. And look at that color. It really makes you want springtime to actually start. That's terrific.
Trish, Stephen has an air to Vernon, kind of similar hat look, the scarf, all the belly pock kind of thing. I think it's and making gin, absolutely sensational. That's who doesn't know, Vernon was the old owner of Gin Palace back in the day, and was a person that I found a lot of similarities with you.
I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah, Vernon Chalker, rest his soul now, but he and you and him, striking resemblance, big personality, like just fabulous. Like
it's all about belly pock, Vernon. Stephen, tell us what's coming. What got
okay? We're currently in total lockdown, so I see that as a fantastic opportunity. And I also have a couple of new distillers join the company, and I'm really keen for each of them to develop a product. And the one that I'm really interested in at the moment is a pickled cucumber and smoked watermelon. Now, that may sound absolutely crazy, but trust me, it's working. I'm just loving the flavor, the acidity I'm getting from the pickled cucumber, and combining that with the sweetness of the watermelon. The horror with watermelon, I've done a watermelon gin before, is filtration. It's incredibly hard to get it out of suspension. But that's our problem at the moment. I may even have to throw in and buy a centrifuge at some stage, but it's coming. It's a beautiful gin. I've got a number of whiskies on their way and some really interesting ones as well. So
W word.
The whiskey gets Jose's ears perked up, and that watermelon with the pickled cucumber, I'm in on that. So can't wait for that one to come out.
That sounds something that should go into a blender. With a lot of ice, some mint. And you will spend your whole afternoon having a glorious
getting stuck into it. And for those who don't know, I guess Dobson's Distillery, for anyone who is just getting to know tonight through this amazing gin, Stephen, you guys have some sensational whiskies out now, gins, liqueurs. You're always tweaking. You're always working on some amazing things. A little bit maybe about the portfolio, but the products you have currently got out as well would be amazing.
Okay, sure. We do a number of products. We have a number of whiskies. probably got 5 whiskies out at the moment. We've got a couple of double gold winners from the World Cup San Francisco amongst those, and as we do in the gin range as well. We do a lot of collaborations. We're doing a whiskey at the moment, which is to celebrate the restoration of a steam train. And we're doing a collaboration with them and trying to go back and look at historic whiskies that did the same thing. So I'm quite interested in history. We've done quite a few spirits that are based on historical spirits or spirits that we were able to find formulas for. And apart from that, we're just generally always developing. And as I said, I've got 3 new distillers on. We lost one last year. We replaced them with 3, and they're all brilliant. And we think that they will certainly drive some wonderful new products.
Yeah, amazing, and everything you guys are doing is sensational, and your ethos and the way you're going about it. It's this amazing quirk and just this differentiality between anything that I've seen elsewhere, and I don't think you guys will have any trouble in standing your own in this industry, because you're just so unique, and I think that's cracking, Stephen, and I'm just the biggest fan and convert to Dobson's Distillery now. I can't wait for us to work with you a little bit more as we go on. In terms of your tasting room, you've got an absolutely sensational little speakeasy, which obviously we can't get to at the moment. But
if it's speakeasy, you cannot.
Well, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about it at all, huh?
No.
In terms of when we can, what can we do in terms of like coming to visit you guys, and how can we support your amazing distillery?
Well, coming to visit, talking about us, what you're doing now is good for all of us. And it's exactly what we need. Exposure for small distilleries is hard to get because media is so expensive. And, using Facebook and Instagram has some effect, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't get to everybody. You tend to sort of be dealing with the same people over and over again. So you're broadening our audience, and that really is probably one of the most valuable things you could do. What you're talking about before about the way we do it and what we do and how different we are comes down to our ethos. Our basic corporate motto is we're not for everyone. We're not trying to please everyone. If we did, we'd have a beige bottle with shit art.
Yeah.
So, that's our basic ethos. And so we don't compromise to try and please everyone. If I get an audience of one who has the greatest experience of their life, that's more valuable to me than an audience of 50,000 who go away going meh.
Good. Yeah, good thought. And on the back of that, Justine, I love what you talking about steam locomotives. Saying that side note, so a couple of years ago, we did bought a barrel of Ardmore to bottle with the oak barrel in Sydney, and with Whiskey and Element here, and a bar in Western Australia. And actually, the label was a locomotive type RD. It's a steam locomotive. I thought you talking about locomotive because it was a Scottish built locomotive, because it's a Scottish whiskey, right? So the parallel there. Maybe you can do something like a Scottish type something and find something related to locomotives. I love history too. I did a lot of research about locomotives to find the right label that tell the story of the whiskey we were bottling back then. But I love what he's doing. It's like there's a lot of thought behind the brand. It's not just a
lot of thought and love that goes into it. And you must have some amazing people at the distillery, Stephen, in terms of how you create obviously this incredible gin, but also your website and everything is so amazing. The labels itself, do you have a designer that comes up with these, or is
that's me?
That's you?
Yeah, I'm the graphic designer. I design for many other companies, just like I design gins for other distilleries. So
we need to
I've just designed a gin for another distillery in New South Wales that's on the shelves now. I won't say who it is, obviously. The label design is really a case of, if the industry zigs, we'll zag. We just try to be different to everybody. That's why we still have 750 ml bottles. And
I
they're
know.
wine shaped
It's
bottles.
it's a wine bottle or like an old
Yeah.
port.
Yeah. Very, very, very. Look, when we first started, you see, you couldn't ship spirits into a lot of countries, but you could ship wine, and we were a winery, so we had a wine club. So for years, we were shipping wine all over the world.
The
with bottles of
bootlegger. Oh
gin.
my God. This is awesome. We got the real thing here. He probably just said there when New Zealand allow. He probably got the still a lot earlier before. But that's I love that passion. It's amazing. You know, and always in the industry trying to do the best what he loves, and you know,
innovating, but not in a sense of like conformity. And Stephen, you're an absolute legend, and it's been so great having you in tonight and getting an insight into Dobson's distillery. This is not the last that we're gonna have you in any form of tasting or anything like that, because we're super impressed and love this gin, and your ethos and your energy is amazing. So thank you so much for joining in tonight.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Cheers, Stephen. And what a cracking gin, and what an interesting one too.
And Stephen represents what we do.
Yeah,
pretty much, you know, like all, you know, the other distilleries too, but it's the same. It's like that very owner driven product, you know, which has a vision of quality, of Australian, of not compromising quality for volume, and you know, it's great.
And most of the producers who have got in here tonight, if not all, have that same sort of ethos, and it's a beautiful one. And we're going to jump over.
Could I just, before you go, could I say one other thing? Sorry, guys, and I'll be very quick. The other thing that separates our gins is we only use heart spirit. We do not reprocess heads or tails. We only use heart, and we make reagent quality ethanol that we can sell to a hospital.
So who do you sell your heads and tails?
Sorry, we don't. What we do is we burn it. We have central heating in our house with 2 Slovenian ovens. We have an ethanol burner in the fireplace in the lounge room. Both the bar and the restaurant are heated by ethanol, and we just have a policy of not doing it. And there's good reason for that. I don't believe anybody should drink less than I drink, and I only drink hearts.
And Stephen, it's an amazing thing. And for those who don't know what heads and tails are, it's the start and the end of the distillation that is perhaps sometimes particular distilleries might use more or less of that. When in the middle, in that heart, is where you get the best sort of flavor. Is that sort of right?
There's some people steal the heads also back again. And that's what makes people blind in Bali, and you see it on a current affair. Exactly. Those are the heads.
Not quite that bad. It's not quite that bad. but no, look, honestly, I have a brain tumor. It's not dangerous. It's quite benign, but it's there. And I'm very conscious of what I put into my body. And I figure if that's the way I feel, I shouldn't sell less than that to my customers.
Well, it's a great ethos and such a great man. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers for joining in. We're going to jump now to a brewery / distillery that I absolutely love. A brewery that sort of came in with this awesome.
Johnny, this is number 4. We got 7.
Yeah, absolutely we do, Jose. Let's get stuck into it. A sort of very interesting start as a brewery with this like amazing sort of rock and roll mentality with a mixture of great people. And we're heading to Young Henry's in Newtown, and tonight we've got their amazing Noble Cut Gin. We're going to pour our 30 ml sample in. We're joined by the amazing Carla, who's the head distiller down there at Young Henry's. Carla, how are you?
I'm pretty good, guys. And yeah, I actually, much like the brewery distillery itself, I started as a brewer at Young Henry's. So I'm across all things with the rock star mentality. It's quite fun.
So your background is brewing, and you end up now also brewing and distilling, right?
Well, actually, my background is science. I was a science communicator and biochemist by trade. And then I was like, stuff this. I'm going to go learn booze because scientists tend to drink a lot. And then, yeah, I ended up in a commercial distillery, and then wanted to learn craft, ended up as a brewer at Young Henry's, and then took over the distillery making Noble Cut, which has been going for about 6-7 years now. So the brewery's been up and running since 2012, and yeah, we've been distilling noble cuts for a good 6-7 years.
Yeah, and it's a cracking gin color, and I guess as everyone has a little bit of a try of this neat without any ice or anything in it yet, or the tonic. This gin is sensational in terms of the botanicals. You've utilized a lot of native botanicals, but one of the interesting things I think that I find is, as a distillery, you've actually used some hops in here as well. So you've thrown back to your sort of brewing heritage, with it as well.
Yeah, so noble cut relates, as Stephen alluded to earlier, about cutting the heads, hearts, and tails. So the cut part of noble cut comes from making the distiller's cut, and the noble part of noble cut comes from using the Enigma hop, which is a noble hop, which, as you mentioned, we use in our brewery. So we actually use the dried Enigma hop flowers in the swan neck for our noble cut one shot.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, I'm just going to add what you were saying before. Is that myself, I'm a winemaker by trade, and one of the things that I never learned or always learned was about fermentation, but I never learned distillation. And I grabbed this love for spirits. That is, the thing that you never get to do. As I work as a winemaker for 10 years, never get to do distillation. So it's like something that and I absolutely love spirits. I don't know any winemaker that doesn't love spirits, but you never do them. You just work on and ferment. You just stop there, right? On the ferment, which is amazing. I see distillation where starting as a brewer and then going into distillation. It's like, woo, I get to do the whole thing.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So when I was in my prior role where I was working at a commercial distillery, I didn't want to go too far down the distillation path and pretty much pigeonhole myself in the industry. I wanted to learn all things. I'm a bit of a glutton in that way. I wanted to learn everything there is to know about brewing, distilling, everything there is to know about alcohol. So yeah, when I made the switch to the brewery, apparently they had a bit of a plan for me that I would be ending up doing both roles. They just didn't tell me, and they hired me as a brewer. It's quite nice, actually. It was a pleasant surprise, but yeah.
So, Jonah, what do you reckon about this gin? What's the palate? What's the nose?
Look, it's absolutely sensational, and you've utilized a lot of native Australian botanicals, as well as having nice binders in there, in terms of some of the normal botanicals we'd get in gin. But one of the things that really does stand out for me is the Enigma hop, I think, is adding a really textural element. And I think as a botanical, that has the potential often, when harnessed right, to elevate other botanicals as well. So I think that's probably one of the most interesting thing about this one and your gins as well, is how you utilize that Enigma hop.
From my winemaking background, this kind of smells like a natural wine. It has that sort of funk, a little bit of radioactivity, so vegetal, sulfur, but in a good way, like sort of on the side. But in a good way, on a vegetal side, which I kind of love. It makes it savory, and that's what you want on a kind of native ferment. This is probably part of the hops that bring all that sort of florals and cut grass. Yeah. This cut grass. This Australian. This is more in the lawn in summer.
Yeah,
so the Enigma hop is quite. The brewers we say it's a bit cheesy, and when it gets a little bit aged, it's very cheesy. So that's definitely a bit of a vegetal element there that really sort of rounds it out, which is quite pleasant.
It's delicious, and the tonic we're going to go for this one tonight, that I'm going to try, is the Fever Tree Mediterranean, the rest of that one. So again, we've got 7 gins tonight for tonics, and the beauty of a lot of the styles of gin that we've got tonight is they sort of fall into mostly a dry style, or like a modern Australian category, and it's a category where, for me, the Fever Tree Mediterranean, Indian, refreshingly light, and the aromatic, of course, are the best ones for. So with these pairings tonight, feel free to choose your own adventure a little bit and figure out what you like with these, because a lot of these gins are very versatile, in that I think a lot of the tonics we're using tonight could pair pretty well with all of them.
I think Trish can tell us about that it's not a formula, right, Trish? It's all about pretty much experimenting.
That's exactly right. And like I always say, whether you like it or you don't, you're right because you're you. And you know, when you hear from these amazing distillers, and even scientists like Carla, I think it's really great. You know, you hear the passion that's put behind, you know, each ingredient, and you know how actually difficult each botanical is to firstly source and then to work with. You know, Fever Tree as a brand tries to support amazing botanicals and distillers by using the best ingredients, really noble cut. Yeah, because it's a little bit lighter, fresh.
We might be losing a little bit.
Use go great with the hops, I think. Where we
hang on, Trish. I don't know who.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Someone is cutting because Owen, who is cutting? Or is Trish? Oh, so we know. So
can you hear me?
Hello? We now hear you. Yes.
Oh, great.
You sort of break down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we're in the middle of a storm at the moment, but thanks for having me back. I'm really familiar with the Noble Cut gin, actually. I remember when they launched, we used to do this drink called a Kopstolce.
The what?
Palace with the gin and your beer. A Kopstolce. So in the Netherlands, you have Geneva with beer, and that's a traditional Dutch drink. And the Jenever is the precursor to gin, which is kind of like a hybrid flavor-wise between a whiskey gin. So when young Henry and I have always been a fan of beer, released a Noble Cut gin many years ago, we put that on the menu with some like little nuts on the side. So in a tulip glass, you'd slurp your gin, you'd have a sip of beer, and then you'd have a little accoutrement on the side. So I always that. So it's cool to meet the maker, Carla. It's awesome.
Likewise. And I just want to answer Nicole's question about when we add the hops. It's one of the botanicals that we add just prior to firing up Still of the Still. So she goes in with the other 5 botanicals just before we fire it up in the morning.
In there as well. Amazing and cracking gin and like awesome insight there. Thank you so much, Trish, as well.
That's one of the very interesting things of gin. Like, you know, there's each of these people that we are getting to talk to us today, there's no right or wrong. They all do either compound gin, or they do basket distillation, or they do a hybrid of both.
Yeah.
And
a multitude of styles of distillation.
Everyone has their own. It's like an art. Like everyone has their own thing.
And today we've got a great plethora of that in front of us. So it's a sensational tasting, and that means a lot of different methods for distillation. And we've got a few cracking ones later on as well. I guess in terms of young Henry's, Carla, for those who maybe aren't super aware of your history and how you guys started, I think it's super interesting. Could you sort of give us like a little bit of a synopsis of how young Henry started, the inception of it, and what your ethos sort of is?
You know this one, do you?
We love the beers.
We love the beers.
We love a Newtowner.
Are you responsible for that too?
Is that Newtowner?
That's the motorcycle.
The motor oil.
Oh, motorcycle oil. Oh, yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Mate, it's perfect weather for it down there, apparently.
I know.
Yeah, look, Richard and Oscar, they were on either sides of the bar, and they just loved a beer. And Richard was a brewer, and Oscar was a beer slinger, and they started a beer club in Newtown when they realised there wasn't much craft beer back in the day. Sounds so old. And yeah, they just had a beer club, and then we're like, well, let's just make our own. And the ethos is serve the people, and we have different levels of that, being they take care of their own people very well, as myself and I'm sure Francis in the chat can attest to, and also we take care of the community. We're very much ingrained in the arts. You might have known us from rock concerts. We are all massive rock fans. We sponsor orchestras and art shows and all that thing. Anything we can do to lift up, burgeoning young artists, we can definitely do that. And we also have programs where we have, for example, solar on our roof, and we've actually partnered with UTS, University of Technology Sydney, for an algae project, which if you go onto our Instagram, you'll see it all over there. And basically we're capturing CO2 produced from the fermentation of our beer.
Yeah.
And then we're actually feeding it into algae to actually produce oxygen and actually reverse essentially our carbon dioxide load, almost like a carbon footprint. And we can actually produce as much oxygen as an acre of Amazonian rainforest, which is quite fun.
Wow.
So yeah, we've got bright green glowing green tanks, like huge, like 5 foot high in our brewery, full of algae that make the air a little fresher.
That is amazing. That is so cool.
And I must say that this is, we're starting to see distilleries and as wineries, they've been, doing it also for quite a while. And as like most of kind of primary or secondary producers, just, they transform primary produce, getting into these sustainable methods, which normally starts by small producers and then larger producers taking over the similar kind of technology when it's more available on a cost basis. But it's great to have people like Young Henry's championing these. I remember back in my days on Lion Nathan, we had a similar thing. We had like 3 ponds. We used a ton of water. Three different ponds to filter all the water that we use and dump it back into the river. I remember one day having to cubify the amount of CO2 that we would use. Throw that to someone like it's never heard about, like how would you cubify the amount of CO2 accounted. That was very interesting. But it's great to see like industry trying to get into the system, which is ultimately is the only way ahead.
Forward. That's exactly right.
We cannot keep going the way we're going. We need people like Young Henry's.
Like Carla, yeah.
Yeah, Carla.
It's amazing what you guys are doing in terms of the sustainable footprint and that sort of thing. It truly is. And I'm just such a big fan of you guys as a brewery and of course a distillery. I think that I've probably drunk more of your Newfound Strength Pale Ale than anything else I've drunk before. In terms of like the distillation side of things, that sort of came a little bit later, 2017, or maybe 2006 years ago, 2016, whatever it was. That came a little bit later. What are you sort of trying to achieve with the distilling side of things? And what's your sort of ethos behind the distilling part of Young Henry's?
We really just, we view it as the same animal. Basically, I like to think of myself as a little bit more of the heart. No, I'm more of like a toe compared to the rest of the organism. Look, incredible quality of product. We are, much like when we're brewing, we are probably the most stringent and the most stickler for quality that you will ever find. You grab a new can of motor oil off that shelf and I will judge it far harsher than you, most likely. Same with the Newtown Strength and the Noble Cut and all our other products that we have coming out. So we really want to make sure that we have an exceptional, consistent product, which is quite difficult to do in our little 2,000 litre still that we have, because it is one shot and it's individual batches that I make each time. And sometimes the still's just in a mood, so you just got to account for that. Innovation is another good thing, and to keep pushing forward in terms of where our heart lies and where our spirit lies. So that's nice. We should put that on a t-shirt. But yeah.
I see companies like Young Henry's, like these kind of independent small companies that push for innovation, but also not to keep this, also the staff likes that, is to keep the staff entertained with something to look forward to, innovate, to keep it fun and keep that workplace an amazing place.
Yeah.
Historically, unfortunately, that's kind of companies get bought by the bigger companies like Mountain Goat and Stone and Wood. But maybe, I like what you guys do. It's amazing that you innovate, and we, in my sense, from being so many years in the industry, I see you guys have fun innovating and creating what you're doing. It's like, let's do this, let's do that. Let's try with this beer. Let's try with this spirit. It's like,
yeah. Our R&D kits are kid and candy store kind of quality. We can basically The company is like, go play. Just
You get a budget.
what do you want?
Don't spend more than this, and then do whatever you want.
Just get it now.
Pretty much.
But you
Yeah,
blow.
they want us to keep us learning. They want to keep us interested and trying new things. And we get around on a Friday afternoon and have brewed a beer, and it's a little R&D. It's basically a homebrew kit, and we just crack a homebrew and have a chat about it. And same with the still. I've got the brewers coming across now and trying to poke around on the still and coming up with fun ideas for a Friday afternoon Boilermaker.
Yeah.
Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Historically, it's really hard to keep engagement within a beverage company if there's no creation and innovation on the background.
Yeah.
Even wine, spirits, anything you want. Most of the people on production just want to make crazy stuff.
And,
just want to try.
And it transcends through to the people there as well. As incredible as your gins and your beers are, one of the most incredible things about Young Henry's how amazing the people are that work there. And everybody that I've ever talked to from Young Henry's are just the most amazing, polite, great people.
Yeah.
And you guys
big in
have
Melbourne.
just
They're
got-
really big in Melbourne.
Yeah,
Like
you
it's
know.
and this thing, it's Melbourne, Sydney, some, but Young Henry's is massive in Melbourne. It's amazing in hospitality. What's coming in towards Christmas? Can you disclose anything like
There's something very large coming that I don't think I can talk about, but you will notice it when it arrives.
what about if we
November.
have a Christmas tasting? We might have a Christmas tasting. Can you talk about us privately later on?
Oh, I'm pretty sure Francis has already alluded to what's coming, but basically we've still got our Rambling Man, which is our 18-year-old ex-Tasmanian Newtown finished whiskey that's currently on the website. And we've got a few fun things in the barrels. We've got some barrels behind our kegs, and there's some fun shit coming.
Good, amazing. And Carla, I love it. You're just the most amazing human being. Thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing new Young Henrys with everyone and giving us all a little bit of taste of what it is you guys do, because it's sensational. And the more people that know about you guys, the absolute better, because it's an amazing brewery / distillery you guys have got going on there in Newtown.
Yeah.
Come see us. Come check out the site in Newtown.
Yes. That's another thing to mention, I guess, quickly, is you guys have got an awesome little brewery there, and in that is a pub sort of tasting room, etc. When we can visit you, tell everyone that hasn't been there before a little bit about the space.
Oh, it's a madhouse. The brewery. So literally we do have the 2,000 litre brew house and the 2,000 litre still. So when you walk into the bar on a good day, chances are you'll see me running up and down the still and producing Noble Cut, most likely as you're sipping your cider, gin or beer in the tasting bar. Have one for me, please. Yeah, so it's in Newtown. It's our heart, it's our home. We're not going to leave anytime soon. So you'll be able to see everything through the windows. And if you speak to the bar staff nicely or tap on the window, I might give you a cheeky little behind the scenes.
Nice.
Sounds good. I'm going to be tapping on the window until you do. Much appreciate you coming in tonight, Carla. It's been awesome. And let's all go to Young Henry's when we can, because what an awesome little place. So from one brewery, Jose, we head off to another. Now, I will stipulate that this is one of the samples that we're having tonight that unfortunately not everyone has. So with the next two samples, you've either got the Murray's or the Gaia Citrus Gin or the Archie Rose. So for those who don't have this one, a bit of an apology. It was just really hard with the postage to work out all the bottlings going around and that sort of thing, but at least we've all got 6 GNTs. And
just letting everyone know that the postage situation did not start the tough situation did not start last week after the current affair, whatever. The postage situation has been going for at least 3 to almost 4 weeks. So some of the parts that were coming over were super delayed, broken, back, sent. So we had to work out a solution, and we did, to make kind of everyone happy. And like, you know, to
Where
make
the-
this happen
where
in a
there's-
nice way.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and everyone here is so amazing. So
Jono,
we
you
know-
made it happen.
We know everyone will be happy that at least we've got 6 GNTs.
And it's
so
credit to Jono. He made it
for
happen.
those who don't have this one, sit tight. We've got the Archie Rose coming up next. But for those who do, at least we can share a little bit of this amazing Gaia Citrus Gin from Murray's Brewing Co. And today we're joined by the amazing Cole. And I guess we've got memories of Murray's for me as a bit of a youngster, because Murray's was like a pioneer of the Australian craft beer scene when the craft beer started becoming trendy. That whale on the front of the beer bottle was one that was like very prevalent in the early days of craft beer. And recently they've jumped into distilling and produced some amazing gins.
I remember Murray's we've been going in Casa Vinos for maybe now 11 years. The first time I saw Murray's labels was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. They had the Angry Man, and to be honest, I can't remember all the labels, but like, this is great.
So for those who, I'm with you, Jose. For those who have got the Murray's Brewing Co., pour in your Gaia Citrus Gin. And Carl, how are you, my man? Thank you so much for joining in.
How you going, guys? Thanks for having me. First time, obviously. But Murray's was one of the first breweries that are the micro breweries, supposedly. I think he started at the pub with no beer, and then he bought up Bob's Farm, and now he's basically been there for about 13 years. And about a couple of years ago he started a distillery, and I took it on about a year and a half ago. And this is one of the products we've come up with.
You've done some amazing stuff. So this gin is cracking. You've got some beautiful ones there that you guys are now producing. We're going to jump a little bit more into like Murray's and everything like that as we go along. But in terms of the distilling side of things there at Murray's, how did it come about? How did it change and morph into Gaia? And what are you guys sort of thinking ethos wise with these amazing gins?
Okay, probably start with the farm, and like this gin sort of based around what was on the farm. So it was a fair bit of citrus at the time. Gaia's more looking at the using nature and the creation is where it was branded from. This particular gin is citrus, obviously around a lot of citrus in the botanical. So we have a couple of different range that we use also from the garden. But this one obviously was more towards trying to get those citrus elements. We've got a little bit of myrtle and kaffir lime and things like that. And this one's basically we've compounded it. So we've got a crystal dragon. So it's a vat still as well. So we use a couple of combinations through the gins, depending on what I guess accents the most of it. So I'm originally a chef. So my head sort of goes, what accent, what brings flavors out, or what what's missing in this. So I more look at sort of travel in the gin and how does it sit on your palate and what flavors develop as it goes along. So this one was looking at even sort of with the juniper. I've used second grade juniper, so I run it once, pull the juniper out of it. What I found is you cool it and then I reuse it and it gets a really sweet piney note rather than sort of more the meaty sort of juniper flavor. So to make it a little bit more delicate, I've used that sort of secondary run juniper through this as a compound, and that helps bring out more of the botanical, the citrus and elements like that.
Yeah, it's a stunning gin and a great one to have this part of the tasting. This is almost as a gin, a little bit of a palate cleansing in the fresh and the brightness of that citrus element that you impart on the gin. It's a stunning one. For those who want to pop a little bit of a pairing in there in terms of the tonic and the garnish now. For this one, I'm actually going to suggest popping a little bit of Fever Tree aromatic in there with a little bit of lime. So if you want to crack open the Fever Tree aromatic for the first time tonight and pop a little bit of lime in there, I think this is bright citrus gin. The aromatics are going to go with it gorgeously, and it really is a stunning gin.
I love how delicate it is. Yeah. It's very subtle. There's a lot of subtle notes. It's like it's almost, as he's a chef, it's almost like fine dining, right? It's like you get it, and it's like there's a lot to nourish, to discover. Very interesting seeing someone coming from food background into gin distilling. How do you see your background tailoring what you're doing? If that question, can you?
Yeah, well, man, to me, yeah, food's food, flavor's flavor, like smell, accent. It's all understanding it and how it works together. So it's understanding, obviously, food's hot, got different attributes in that way, where distilling's, you know, it's a cooking method, putting stuff into alcohol, depending if you're steeping and that sort of stuff, or vapor infused. So yeah, it's more understanding, you know, what you're shooting for, and obviously how whatever you're using, the botanical whatever reacts to that. So for me, it goes really hand in hand. And then as well as, you know, if you're in the back of your head, you think, what are you going to serve that with? You know, like the citrus obviously will go, you know, with light fish, a lot of seafood, that sort of stuff. Easy drinking sort of, you know, like you said, nice palate cleanser.
My question was coming from the side of, normally when you study distillation, whatever your background is, you rarely come from a food side unless you've done food science. But you're normally not a chef before, so you've never been exposed to so much flavor. Like in my case, when I studied winemaking, I came just from agriculture, so winemaking, I had no idea what I was doing or the end product, right? I just learned how to do it. In your case, I imagine you're working as a chef, you get a lot of knowledge about what to put on people's mouths. And now it's like, do you work with like an objective? It's like, all right, now I want to make something like for, I don't know, barbecue or afternoon style, smoky, or I want to make something like, you know, to go with, let's say something to make it go with fish, but you want to make a saline gin. Yeah. I want to make fruity, forward, big bomb, aromatic. It's how does it come the production, the creative side?
Influence normally. So yeah, it's like you said, if you're shooting for something particular, we've just done an aperitif with a local designers, Mrs. like high tech Mrs. Wurs, and they basically told us what seasonal colors they were going for and influence. And we basically took their traditional tea that they used to drink and used that as the basis of the aperitif. So depending on, yeah, what I guess is the base influence, I sculpt from there.
Yeah, super interesting. And you've done an exceptional job with this gin. It's full class. The brewery, I guess, started transitioning in 2017 to these amazing spirits you guys are producing now. Yep. A little bit about, obviously, this citrus gin is an absolute killer, but you guys have got some amazing other gins. You're working on some aperitifs, some bitters and that sort of things, as I've heard as well. What sort of happened at the moment, and what's in the works?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at more collaborations. We've got a coffee liqueur we brought out with Sprocket, the local coffee company. Bitters, we're starting to work on those. So we've got a general house bitters in a few different ranges, G&T bitters. If you want to knock off the alcohol so much, you can bring that back. But yeah, we've also starting to work with slow food and using some of sort of ARCT. I'm not sure if you're familiar with ARCT products. So it's kind of looking at documenting flavors and things like that. So we're trying to work with slow food and use some. So basically either reclaim. So we've got a basically Patterson orange that's ARCT flavor, and we've used that in a bitters which will be coming out soon. So again, that's the influence. We're trying to accent what's the flavor of this product and bringing it out in a bitters and see how that goes.
Yeah, I reckon Carl, and again, goes back to the same when we're talking about Noble Henry, it's the same, basically striving to innovate and everything. I just want to show you something that we got not long ago, and I probably need to plug my computer, which anytime it's going to run out. This is a bitter that we got from Haiti, which is at 94.2.
Nice.
We'll send you a sample of this soon. That's made with cane sugar and local Haitian spices. So
excellent.
And
I see that creativity with him.
And I think, to be honest, this amazing distilling scene we're seeing in Australia at the moment, this boom, there's such a big spot for bitters and aperitifs to start coming in, because we need these beautiful Australian bitters and aperitifs to make amazing gin cocktails. So I think that could even be the next big thing that's sort of going to kick off. And hearing what you guys are up to, it sounds like you're right on the money there. I'm so excited to try.
And also, like, the gin distillers already have the knowledge on the botanicals to use as a bitter, right? Because the bitter doesn't need to be bitter as it itself says. It's just pretty much a big flavor concentrate.
Accent to whatever you're using is pretty much going.
Yeah, so very interesting. That's the way our craft distillers are going to they just want to do this stuff. Probably doesn't even pay the bills. It doesn't even justify to do it. But
it's interesting though. We like the apothecary concept where you are also using products but getting the nutrients and everything out of it. So for us, it's sort of that apothecary / bitters and flavors and accents. It's heaps to do. It's good.
And it's so good to try this one tonight and get to know you guys a little bit better.
Celador?
Yeah. In terms of Murray's, and you guys are there now at Bob's Farm. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about your location, where you are, and when we can visit you, what we can do there, because I know you've got some amazing stuff going on there.
Yeah, Bob's Farm's pretty big. It's set up a venue that you can obviously taste everything at the cellar door. So the brewery's in full function. We have the cellar door open at the moment, but obviously restrictions with food. So there's like the pizza oven and food and things like that. Different rooms. They're actually rebuilding to have like a bar section where you can more sit, in a more of an isolated, I guess, nice setting and enjoy talking with the bar persons and all the rest. Rather than sort of, I don't know, there's massive deck where you can have beers and all the rest of it. There's a vineyard, so we're back onto the vineyard as well, which we do. We use some of the grapes in a beer this year. So we race up and harvest all those. So we try and use the land as much as we can as part of the fun. So basically there's heaps to see at Bob's Farm. It's worth dropping in.
As soon as we are out of lockdown, we dive.
We're looking at doing brewery tours and obviously distillery. So that's up in the warehouse. As soon as we're out of lockdown, hopefully
we'll jump in. And basically, it sounds like you've got everything you need: winery, brewery, distillery. I could set up camp there for a while, I reckon.
Probably next one is coming a hotel just right next door, or an Airbnb, or you just stay there. They fill your fridge, or you can drink and you just.
The rest will be history.
Yeah, I know.
Murray has mentioned some glamping concepts, so that may be in the pipeline.
Glamping. I reckon we'll
Casarino's glamping.
Hello, Carl. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. It's been cracking to try this gin. For those of you who didn't get a chance to try this one tonight, we're definitely going to have these guys in future tastings. And also we're going to have this bottle open at our new Castavino's venue. So for those who don't know, as a shop, we're actually relocating this week to a new spot. We're going to be located at 283 Coventry Street near the South Melbourne markets, for those of us in Victoria, or for those in New South Wales when you drop down. And we'll have all of these gins available to come in and try, and obviously some other amazing ones as well. So it's really exciting. We're super duper stoked about our little relocation, and it's going to be great to be able to.
And when you guys are allowed to come over, 100% we're getting to host, a tasting for all these guys that have been supporting us for so long.
It is so good.
We will have the capacity to do a dual kind of tasting, so go live and do it in-house at the same time. So don't think that because we're relocating and everything and whatever opens up, we will continue doing the online tasting, just because we cannot leave people down. We cannot leave people behind. It's like the ethos of, the platoon. You cannot leave a member behind.
That's it. We're going to keep staying together.
Many of you supported us from New South Wales, South Australia, Queensland, Tasmania for some of the toughest times ever, and we can't leave them behind.
Absolutely.
So we will have a gin tasting ongoing.
Nobody will ever be left behind, and we'll always keep on doing these amazing online ones so we can meet great people like we just met with Carl. So now, and I will probably run a little bit over our normal sort of 1 hour, 1 hour and a half time slot and go closer to 9 tonight. But I don't think that there's too much else that we're going to be doing afterwards wherever we are. So I think everyone's pretty happy to go a little bit longer and have a bit more of a chat as Jose puts the button on the smoke machine. For the next gin we're going to, it's super exciting because I guess it's almost like the Australian online tasting premiere for what is just an absolute cracking gin. And with Jose's already got the music out. He's ready to go. Come on, man.
After 4 gins, no, 4 or 5, I don't know.
The Archie Rose Distillery up in Sydney has been a massive pioneer of the Australian distilling scene in all categories of spirit, and all of their gins that they've released, as well as their amazing whiskies, have been incredibly phenomenal. And this is another core release, and the distilling that goes behind it, the technicality of it and the different methodologies used are sensational. So if everyone wants to pour their little sample of the Archie Rose Bone Dry, some may have a 15, some may have a 30. Everyone's got a little sample of the Archie Rose. If everybody wants to pour their sample of the Archie Rose, we'll welcome our very good friend.
Let me just add here to my very good friend and your very good friend, Paul Slater. I know Paul for so long. It's like, I feel like it's almost like my industry brother.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah. How are you, Paul? Long time no see.
I'm very well, Jose. Jono, thank you. Thanks for building the hype. That was incredible. Can we have a bit more smoke, please?
Oh, don't tease me. You know, it's not going to be lack of smoke, and you know me.
Not one of those tastings.
No. Love Paul. Paul's been in the industry for how long?
How long is a piece of string?
7 years now. Before Star Wars, jumping into Archie Rose, big in the hospitality scene as a great industry friend. Now he's working for a bigger distillery, but that still has a private owner, which is very thoughtful about the whole production process. And actually, it is, you know, like it or not, you might take your sides, but he's very thoughtful about the production process, which is great. Embracing those thoughts of craft distilleries, small distilleries, taking it to a larger scale. And also the distillery head distiller, Dave Withers, another, you know, amazing legend. You know, industry. One of the probably he managing the Oak Barrel before jumping in there. Probably the best bottle shop in New South Wales and Sydney, to go into distilling one of the, you know, most innovative distilleries in New South Wales.
Yeah,
I'm dying to taste this, Paul.
Jose, I feel like you've stolen the show from me. My work here is done.
Yeah, it's done.
No, hey, yes, we have a history. I've been lucky to work with a few different producers, which is great. And we are having a whole lot of fun at Archie Rose. Where do I begin? Okay, we've got the Bone Dry Gin tonight. Pretty excited about it. As you've mentioned, not many people have tasted this before. I guess to frame this, look, every time we make a gin, there's a different purpose. You know, it might be a key botanical, it might be a collaboration, it might be, you know, trying to frame a season or a setting or something like that. This is the first time we've really concentrated on juniper as the lead botanical. So I guess if you allow me to take a step back, you know, we kicked off in 2014 in Rosebery in Sydney there. So it's a, you know, it's a pretty tight urban space. We're making vodka, gin, starting to make whiskey, bit of rum as well. We're working on our little Nat Lewis stills, copper pot stills, those wonderful things that so many Australian distillers have. And we achieved a lot on that. But I guess, you know, where the transition was last year when we moved into our new site, right? And so that's something we've been working on for longer than we should have, to be honest about it. But we've designed this place to not only sort of upgrade the size, the scale of things, but introduce a bit of new tech. So what we have in the Bone Dry Gin is basically kind of showcasing our ability to, I guess, play with the new toys. And in that, I'm talking about vacuum stills. So, you know, we've always made gin by distilling each botanical individually. You know, it's like you can't use the same heat or speed or cut points for, say, coriander seed as you would for rose petals, for example. So it's part of the reason why we've done it. We've now had the ability to sort of take it to the next step, because of course with vacuum stills, you know, you can lower the temperature, you can sort of cater to different botanicals and get the best out of them as such. You know, it's sort of like we care about these things. So we like to put a lot of attention into each individual distillation. So, you know, we got this new distillery set up, and it was like, well, what are we going to do? Let's make a gin that is celebrating juniper. You know, juniper it's really complex. You know, I think we forget sometimes you can get so much out of it. It's, you know, it's pine, it's citrus, it's earthy, it's herbal, it's spicy, it's so many different things.
Well, sorry to interrupt you, and he's loving too much his own gin. He cannot talk that much about it.
No, he loving it.
You didn't give me a time limit, Jose.
I got to, you know, time. I can interrupt him because we are friends, and then we.
Yeah,
but the only person that could be a bigger friend than I am a friend here is Fever Trish.
It's Trish. So Trish, the pairing, do you mind sharing with this one and your thoughts on this gin? And you and Paul are amazing friends. So I'd love to hear you guys chat about the gin.
Oh my God, I was so excited to try this. I couldn't believe how quick you guys were to the mark on this one. Getting this gin for a tasting together. So excited. Paul, yeah, Paul's a really dear friend of mine, actually. We go way back. I love you. And it's so great that he's working for, you know, definitely one of, you know, my longest relationships with gin is Archie Rose. I was a little bit slow to the mark, unfortunately, with gin. I really fell in love with Archie Rose off the bat, and every time I go to Sydney and I go to Rosebery, it's my favourite airport bar in the world, I say, because I get off a plane, I go straight there. It's always my first stop and always my last on the way out, so it's always a really great time. This gin is awesome. Love it. Really, really great. It really rings true to what you guys do, and I really love your house style across the board. Like, even when you do find experimental gins, like you guys did for our gin and tonic festival, you know, it can be as quirky as, but it still has that sort of baseline that you guys are really like known for, which I love. It's really great with the refreshingly light. It just lets those botanicals pop. Yeah, that's so good. Great stuff, Paul.
Thank you, Trish. I wish I could say I made it myself. I didn't actually. Pretty proud to be having it in my glass though.
What would you do with this if you was not adding tonic to it?
Mate, this is totally a martini gin. Like, it's pretty straight down the line. You know, it's pretty bold and rambunctious, I think. I don't think this is the type of gin that, look, it's not made to please everybody. You know, we've got core range gins and they're great, and they're sort of all rounders and that sort of thing, and they all serve a purpose. This one won't actually be around forever. It's pretty sizable, but it is a limited release. Martinis, actually, we've got an in-house drinks creator who makes our bottled cocktails and whatnot. I tried her a version on a pina colada made with a bone dry, which we affectionately know as the Bona Colada, the other day, and it was freaking delicious. It's pretty new to me, so I've got to try a few more things. Negroni is great, you know, because you need a big bold gin to stand up against those other ingredients.
I feel like a Negroni and a martini would be like bang on with this. It's an absolute cracking one.
For me, it would be a martini, not dirty, just perfect.
Yeah,
just as it is. Bit diluted, salty. It's just so balanced. Exactly. Technically, it's an amazing gin.
And Paul, we're gonna keep chatting to you for a little bit, and Trish here as well. But one of the most interesting things going on at Archie Rose at the moment is your relatively new sort of distillery and everything you guys are doing there. A little bit of background on the actual distillery and what's happened in terms of this new setup you guys have got.
Yeah, cool. So actually what you see behind me is the old site. Some of you may have been there before. That's where actually I should throw a plug. Hey, when we're open again, on the other side of this mesh wall that you see, that's where the bar is, which is ordinarily open 7 days a week. And those guys are fantastic. You know, there's like 500 spirits on the back bar there. It's not just about us, it's about like, you know, all our contemporaries and everything that's quality. So come and pay us a visit there. In terms of the new site, we've now moved out to Banks Meadows. So think Port Botany out there. So it's once again, it's near the airport. So Trish, no excuses, mate. Next time you roll in. But this one's more of the workhorse. It's not really open to the public. It's new and it's high tech. It took us about 3 years to build. We've sort of, you know, Dave Withers, as you mentioned, Jose, he's such a lover of spirits and making and celebrating things from all over the world in different styles. I guess this is his kind of, you know, distiller's wet dream there, where he's been able to put in like custom build a distillery. We've got a big emphasis on whiskey as well. There's a W word, Jose, for you. There's going to be more of that about very shortly too. We're doing limited releases out there, but basically we've got some big cool kit to make whiskey, to make gin, to rum. There's lots of stuff going on.
And I guess the word that I would describe Archie Rose and everything you do is tech. It is just absolutely elite in terms of the precision that you put into everything you do, and also the amount of knowledge and process and the people behind the distillery. Everything is done with absolute conviction and in a way that is incredible. And this is probably the first time that this bone dried gin has been tasted by this many people at once. You know, it's only been released a week or so ago, and it's just absolutely stunning.
It's another of those distilleries that has a very solid core ranges, but the distillery team gets to play around a lot with the Sydney Opera House gins, the two different ones.
There's a cricket gin that's just come
cricket
out.
Gin.
You blink your eye and there's a new interesting one that you guys are working on.
It's just come left, right, and center. It's amazing, and that keeps the distillery team entertained and actually, you know, interested on the job, which is great on this. Also, they got an amazing whiskey bar, by the way, if you've never been there, and if you also like whiskey or anyone you know, they got an amazing whiskey bar at the distillery near the airport. So yeah, great place to visit. And look, you know, you just released these. What can you tell us anything else? Can you you know, no one,
what's up your sleeve for?
Promise we won't tell.
Some of it I can talk about. Some of it will be maybe a bit of a teaser. Look, there's always something new, as you know, and to your point, Jose, like we love making new stuff and innovating, and it's super cool because you get to learn new stuff, you get to experiment and whatnot. You know, we've got, what can I say? We've got some beehives at the distillery. Awesome. We use the honey in some of the gin. There may be something related to that coming up shortly. We have more whiskey coming out. We have another harvest release. I'm not sure how many people were here last year, but the last tasting I did with the Casa de Vinos legends was the 2020 harvest gin. So for that, what we tend to do is focus on a particular botanical and just, you know, showcase that. So we've got another one of those coming up shortly. I wish I could say what it actually is. Then we've got a couple of other things up our sleeve. Won't say too much. There's always something going on anyway. We're going to keep you entertained. And for everybody here tonight, every one of our products is going to be stocked at Casa de Vinos. So please go in there and hit the guys up.
Thank you, Paul.
I'll give you a free sample and probably give you a discount and give you a handshake and good chat at the same time.
Well, we absolutely bloody will, because Paul, you're a massive friend of the house, and Jose and Trish and everyone.
I'm Paul's going to host Friday night gin nights. Gin and oysters.
And this bone dry, as you say, limited. Sure. It's worth snuffling one up tonight, I reckon, because it's a cracking gin. and it's doing something really innovative in terms of distilling, vacuum distilling juniper in this way, and harnessing the botanical through these different means is something that's quite forward thinking and hasn't really been done before. And as a spirit, it's kind of a really almost groundbreaking one.
Yep.
In terms of, I think that in the future of Australian distilling, we're going to see a lot more utilization of vacuum stills and different distillation methods to produce gins like this.
Is this going to become core range, or this is a one-off?
It's a one-off, but it's a big one.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if we look, it's kind of an experiment about, using new kit and whatnot. And we're definitely going to use those methods again in the future. But I think the product that you're going to see is a different one to what we have today. So look, without going down the rabbit hole too much, we've distilled juniper 3 ways. So we've done like a pot maceration column, and then similar to that, but use a vacuum. And then we've done distillation using juniper in the basket. So 3 different ways of using juniper for this to get, I guess, different flavors out of it. And then only a couple of other botanicals too. There's only 5 in all in this. So it was just like about sort of, I guess, stripping the flesh off and getting the bare bones of the most important botanical in gin.
This is juniper, and this is what juniper can be. And that's what you guys have done with such conviction. So, Paul, thank you so much, my man, for allowing us to taste this one tonight. It's not often that you get the opportunity to have the first chance to try a distiller from one of the biggest, distilleries in Australia.
And you can go to Australian Gin Association, Precision Society on Facebook, and now brag about that you already tasted it.
Exactly right. So thanks for allowing us the opportunity, Paul. It's an absolute cracker. And forever and always, Castavinos and Archie Rose will be hand in hand, because friends. You guys just have some amazing stuff going.
And this is one of the great things that we do. We get people like Paul, Trish, you got all the other distillers, and it's not just, let me just get the spotlight out of Paul so he doesn't have to be there all the time. Yeah, I know. He's a lot cuter than me, though. But yeah,
maybe we need to get you one of those hats.
I probably do. That we have our gin chats at any level. We can talk technical, and Paul talking about distillation, vacuum distillation, column distillation, and anyone can ask any question. Any of these people that is on the chat, of course, because we don't want to make it too boring. But any question, as technical as you are, that is the best time right now, because you got all the distillers there.
Some of the most amazing people.
And you can go geek as you like.
Jump it in there in the chat if you've got any questions in particular.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to head to an amazing distillery, one we absolutely love. We were lucky enough to be joined by these guys last year.
Yeah, I know.
In the New South Wales store.
I love their bottles.
With their gin that we're trying tonight, but aged in barrels. Tonight we're trying the bare bones, and we're joined by the boys from Earp Distillery. I think we've got Michael and Cam there. How are you guys? Thank you so much. Last but bloody definitely not least, this is a sensational gin.
Yep.
Cameron and Michael here. Yeah, I think last time we did our barrel aged gin, we were on with the Archie Rose boys doing your last release, your harvest release. Paul was doing harvest release. So yeah, we were on the same night. So it feels like yesterday, but I think it was about a year ago. So time goes so quick at the moment.
We're still in the same situation here.
Yeah, exactly right. So thanks for having us back. No, we appreciate it. It's so good to see so many people's faces and familiar faces and friends and other distillers, and we're all smiling and enjoying a good drink on a Friday night. So it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cam. And it's an amazing thing to have you guys back in. Last time everyone fell in love with you guys, and it would be remiss of us not to have you guys in again for this New South Wales stock. So this cracking portside gin, in terms of the botanical profile and what you guys are trying to do with this one, before we jump a little bit deeper into your distillery, what's the goal with the portside gin itself?
So the portside gin, it's the Navy stronger, higher ABVs. For me, I think alcohol that's a higher ABV means you're getting those beautiful flavors. So you got the lemon myrtles there, which is that citrus, real bite to it. Wattle seed, which is a bit of coffee chocolate, which is weird that mixing that lemon and that coffee and chocolate flavor together. But for me, I think it just does balances really well. A lot of our gins, don't get me wrong, everyone does their own gins their own way, but we try to use minimal botanicals to try and enhance those flavors that we want to push through. So in this, you got that real strong lemon myrtle flavor, which gives it a bit of a spicy citrus feel. And also with those, when your alcohol's coming off, you're still, the more you water that down, the mellower the flavor becomes. It's like cooking anything. If you got bolognese, you add water to that, the less the flavor is there. So for me, I enjoy those Navy strengths, real high alcohol, because you're getting those flavors that have come off the still. And when we were building the distillery in the warehouse, it was 40, 45 degrees in the middle of summer, and we're drinking this in big jugs with topped with soda and fresh lemon, and it was making us get through the build. Just as that refreshing, beautiful, like summer Australian feel for us. And that's where we went with those beautiful botanicals coming through, and keeping it simple so you can taste those botanicals.
Yeah, and in many ways where you are in terms of your locality to being portside, I guess this name and the gin itself pays homage to your locality as well. And I think you've done exceptionally well in that. In terms of the pairing for this one, tonight I've gone with the Fever Tree aromatic and with a little bit of lemon. But again, have a play around, see what you're liking. The Fever Tree aromatic, Trish, that goes normally pretty well with quite big gins on the fruit and citrus front. From my understanding, that's kind of what you guys normally do with your aromatic pairings.
Look, absolutely. So the aromatic, it's so funny. People, well, firstly, drinks that are pink are just 10% more delicious. That's a fact. So there you go, science for you. But the aromatic tonic is just really fun. And once you know how to mix with it, it's a bit of a showstopper. And certainly, oh my God, like Cameron, you know, I love everything you guys do there. And I just think that with your portside gin, this is just phenomenal. The aromatic tonic has this like lemon lime bitters vibe, which so works great with citrus, works great with spice, works great with that punchy juniper, works excellent with obviously gins that are higher in alcohol, you know, because we pay homage with this one to that Navy strength style of drinking. When you're in the Navy, you're given a daily ration of gin, Navy strength gin, higher in alcohol. You're given a daily ration of tonic as an anti-malarial medicine, daily ration of citrus to combat scurvy. And you're also given Angostura bitters, which is an anti-nausea medicine for sailors. So instead of Angostura bitters, we use spices ourselves like pimento, Madagascan vanilla, ginger, green cardamom, and Angostura bark, of course. So it really spice up your life. But God, I really love this gin, Cam and Michael. Like what you've done is just, well, everything you do is fabulous. So love this combination.
This is another product that fits the marketing 3 Ps: price, product, and packaging.
Yeah,
right. It's amazing. It's like great packaging, great product, and also great product.
And the packaging itself, and I guess we can sort of talk about this in terms of the history of the distillery as well. The packaging and the bottle of these ones is kind of paying homage to your family's past in tiling and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the family business, I'm 5th generation, and we've been in the building game for a long time. So we're very heavily tied into ceramics. So when we looked at the distillery, we thought, oh, well, how can we incorporate that into the packaging? And so we managed to have contacts who could help us make the ceramic bottle. And it's very expensive to make, but we're really proud of it. It just stands out on the shelf, and it's all about having something that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We know a lot about ceramic bottles. A lot about ceramic bottles. This shipping challenge. We import a tequila that has a ceramic bottle too. So there's a shipping challenge. There's sometimes haulage challenge. But it's something that you kind of champion because you actually love it. So I respect that a lot.
The passion behind it.
Right? Yeah. The passion behind, and actually I think it's amazing because in today's market, there's a lot of consumers that also see gin as a gift, which is an amazing thing to buy to someone, something really nice, and pretty even better if it tastes really nice.
Tastes amazing. Huh?
Right? Like this gin. And also sometimes you want to have nice things in your house.
Yeah.
Right? We don't, to be honest, for the last 18 months, it's been quite rough.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of luxury. And then when you want nice stuff, you just want to buy nice
You
stuff.
want like these beautiful bottles.
Yeah.
In terms of you guys, you've been doing some amazing stuff, and you're super, I guess, on the front foot in terms of innovation and always having amazing stuff going on down at the distillery there. What are some things you guys have in your current sort of range and things that you're also pretty proud of that are going to come out a little bit soon?
While we talk, and while you said in innovation, we're in our bar at the moment that's closed, but
Let's have a chat.
That's awesome. I've been looking at that.
for us starting distilling about 3 years ago, it wasn't about just us being a distillery. It was also making great Australian spirits. So on our back bar, we have 30 to 40 different Australian spirits, gins, and we have got so many Australian whiskies. And we've had the Archie Rose team up here. Dan's done a live tasting of Archie Rose's own product in our bar. We've had Farmer's Wife, Prohibition, a lot of these Australian distillers. So for us, it's about working with these distillers to put the Australian spirit market on the map. And when you say innovation, we've got so when you walk in our front door, you can see a big.
That's a kiln.
No, that's our still.
Christ.
So we've got yes, it doesn't look like copper. We've got a 5,000 litre stainless steel, still made out of Netherlands. So it's just pushing the technology game a bit and doing consistency over and over again. Yeah. And for us, not distilling before, we wanted to do something that we knew was going to be consistent over and over again, but not changing how it's done at all. But we still add copper into our still when we're doing our runs with our whiskey and rum. But the technology was just something that just drew us to see where the industry was going and the consistency and what we're getting out of a run in our still. And in our little gin school room, you can come in and make your own gin on like a little 6 litre still. If you really want to produce that and sell that, we could upscale it to a 500 litre still we've got here, or 5,000, and it'd be the exact same gin that came out of a 6 litre still that it would out of 500 or 5,000. So that consistency and making a gin today and then making the same gin 2 years down the track for us was something that was extremely exciting. And also, if someone else buys a still like this, we can produce gin here, or if you've got a still in the UK, they can produce it for us. So instead of making product and sending it on a boat, they can produce the exact same gin for us in their still. We just send our recipes and it does the same thing. So it's
amazing.
Yeah,
it's just enhancing the way it's done a little bit and not taking away from what everyone else does in their still rooms and the distillers. It's amazing work. It's just something that we decided to go with and something different.
That's it. And I think one of the most important things, no matter what distillery we're talking about tonight, no matter what gin or spirit we're talking about, the most amazing thing is always the people. The reason that these spirits are so great is the people behind them. And you guys epitomize that as well. You've got these really forward-thinking distillation methods. Yeah. You're doing some incredible stuff in terms of the way that you're producing spirits. But the amazing thing behind all of the gins tonight, including yours, is the people behind you. And you guys epitomize great Australian distilling and ingenuity. I guess talking a little bit about your portside gin, you've done it in a barrel age, and you've also got some other cracking gins there, a little bit of whiskey in the mix there as well. Yeah. What are some things going down there that are really getting
because you got that machine that you can do pretty much everything.
I'll pass this on to Michael, but before we start, yeah. Michael's son's one of my best mates, and I used to sit out in the lounge room and drink alcohol with him and chat, and he goes, I've got an interesting thing if you want to join me. Let's make some alcohol. I said, yeah, no worries. Let's get a small still. One night we got on the piss and we ended up ordering this 5,000 litre still. So here we are now, but I'll let Michael tell you what's in the coming future for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers, Cam.
So we're pretty passionate about trying to work with rum. And we, as you said, we do have the capacity here to make any spirit. But what we are really loving about where we're going is that we think there's a fantastic opportunity with rum and craft distilling in Australia It's boomed in gin, and we believe that rum is going to be a really good new opportunity for many distilleries. Whiskey in Australia is down Tasmania, amazing job. Some fantastic distilleries around Australia that are producing world-class whiskies. And we think that there's a really good opportunity with rum as well. So we're pushing pretty hard with the rum. We're also working on some brandies. We've got a few different gins coming out in the next couple of months. We set up and started on in December 2019, and we were 3 months later hit with COVID. But in that 4 or 5 months, we managed to get a little bit of rum away, and that has now hit the 2-year mark.
Years. Yeah, we got a rum that we can call actual rum. So we're gonna.
I feel like if we connect with these guys who have so much to chat when they sit in there. And saying that, he was mentioning rum, and now it's lucky that Owen is here. He's coming in tomorrow, and he might maybe we send you guys a sample. We got a rum tasting next Thursday with some really interesting rums. We send you a pack, and Owen's going to make you a pack next week.
Yeah, love that.
Tasting some continental aging Monimask versus tropical aging Monimask, cask strength and prostituted. Unprostituted.
Some really interesting
water,
stuff in the tasting
water,
as
no
well.
colorant.
And
really
it'll be a
about
fun one. Boys, a sensational gin. Honestly, I am a huge fan of you guys because you've got the incredible spirit which you're producing, and also the family background of the tiling and that sort of thing. Being able to emulate that into this sort of beverage category, it's not something that's easy to do, that transition. So I think that it's just an immaculate and amazing thing that you guys are doing. In terms of when we can visit you guys, obviously it's going to be a little bit of a while. You've said a little bit, you've got your gin school there, we can go in there and do some things. What's the best way that we can support you guys right now? Do you have a mailing list we can subscribe up to and that sort of thing?
Yeah, for sure. So we've got a mailing list. Jump onto our website or any of our social media. We're doing like little refill subscriptions. So if you subscribe, we can keep your little ceramic bottle at home every month, every week. If you're like us that are a bit like to drink too much, we can send you a little refill pack so you don't have to keep throwing the bottle out. But we also have our cellar door here in Newcastle, and we're super pumped. Once we can open up, we love to do, if people have been saying in the little chat, they want to do trips up the East Coast or whatever, jump on board, see the guys at Archie Rose, Distillery Botanica, us at Newcastle, Murray's are just up the road. It'd be such a great little trip up the East Coast to visit all these amazing.
I can imagine when everything opens up, a lot of these people might have friends that are doing weddings and ends and things like that, and you can go with your friends and maybe make your own little gin batch distilled there, right? That's what I understood about it. You know, like kind of a nice thing to spend the whole day over, have a few drinks, make your own gin
to get it going. And
experience.
It'll be so much fun. And Cam and Michael, I will jump back to you just for a little closing bit in a second, and all the other distillers and everyone who's left in the chat tonight as we enjoy the G&Ts we have left. It's going to be so exciting to go back and say thank you and hello to everyone. Yeah. But just as a little preface, as a little bit of a wet the whistle, Jose, we've got a very exciting stop of the live online Australian Gin Tour coming up on Friday, the 8th of October at 7 p.m. This is one of the best tastings that we have probably ever done in terms of the gins that are in there and the amount that is known about them, in the sense that for the South Australian gin tasting, we're joined by Never Never Distillery with a gin which we can't sort of, or a spirit we can't sort of talk about too much.
We can't tell you about what we're going to do, but we can tell you what we are going to taste.
Yeah, the Barossa Valley Distilling Co. are about to release an Australian garden gin. We're going to do the online premiere for that as part of the Australian Gin Tour. We've also got some other incredible distilleries joining us. Prohibition is going to jump in with a newish gin that they've just released as well. We've got Needle and Pin Spirit, a really cool new sort of emerging distillery in South Australia with their Seville Orange gin. It's a tasting jam-packed of incredible gins and ones that
it's a premiere.
Yeah, the amazing thing is, I guess, from doing this for a couple of years. The South Australian one has just coincided with each distillery's release for spring, and so we're trying sort of 5 new gins that I don't think you would have tried before. So
and when Jono has done a great job on this through our relationship that we are lucky been doing these tastings and we've created this great relationship with other producers. We've secured 5 prime releases to Australia, so you'll be the first ones to see
to be able to try them. And that's kind of the idea of what we do, is to support distilleries, amazing distilleries that we love, but also to be able to bring you guys some gins that you might not be able to try otherwise. When 5 gins all come out at once, there's probably only a few of us that will grab all 5 straight away. So it's a good opportunity to try some beautiful gins. So don't sleep on South Australia. It's going to be an incredible tasting. And with the code tonight, Juniper, you can get 10% off. So I reckon tonight's the time to get it. It's going to be a huge tasting.
And also it's a big kudos to those distillers that, see what we're doing for the gin fans, that we've been keeping the industry up and trying to bring gins to people's houses. They trusted us doing this as a premiere. So if you want to taste a premiere of Prohibition, Never Never, what's the other one?
Barossa Distilling.
Yes, Barossa Distilling.
Pin and Needles, and of course Applewood with their Alpine gin, with our good friend Henry joining from there as well. So that's going to be a cracking tasting. Get involved in that one.
And we'll make Henry dance.
Really, Henry will dance and
Henry
play
will
Bohemian
dance
Rhapsody and get the guitar out.
You remember last time?
I remember last time.
I'm still playing that.
It was sensational. But I must say, Jose, tonight has been the most fun I've had in one of these for a long time. It's been incredible, and I guess it's hard for us to probably go to a pub or a club or do whatever wherever we are in Australia at the moment. So doing this and sharing a G&T virtually with everyone is an amazing thing. Just before we chuck onto the music, Jose, I want to go and do a little around the grounds and say thank you to everyone who's joined us tonight from the distilleries. And I don't know is Gavin still there? I know Gavin was saying that he loves a bit of Clusters all a little bit before as well. We'll have to get.
I'm still here. Fantastic night, guys. Thanks so much again for basically supporting the industry, because you're doing an awesome job. Australian gins and whiskies and rums still only represent 2.5 to 3% of all sales of alcohol in Australia. So there's so much room in this industry. Thanks for your support. Can't wait for the next one.
That's so nice, and Gavin, I must say, the way this started was back in April was the first gin tasting we did. It was just trying to pretty much at that time get extra revenue, because we were like just almost dead back then, and then become this really great group of people and producers supporting each other. We started to have fun. Everyone else started to have fun. Then this became this great community, which is now it's all about just
it's
like
amazing sharing our passion for Australian gin and with such beautiful producers. So Gavin, thank you.
I've been in this industry since 1988. I actually helped support the whole change to the law so that we could actually get craft distilling happening in Australia, and it's so great to see it grow the way that it has. So thanks again, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you, Gavin, and thank you so much for your amazing words and your great attitude in the industry. We love Stony Creek Farm Distillery. To Jones and Smith Distillery there in the central west of New South Wales. Thank you guys so much for joining again tonight as well. It's been amazing to have you guys in.
Thank you very much for having us. We're obviously new to this and to the whole gin industry, so we're just happy to be a part of it and happy to jump on board and get involved with all you guys. And
great to have you in.
And we're always happy to have someone new, joining in. And there's so many distillers, and we would like to invite everyone. Sometimes it's very difficult, right?
And we feel so small compared to some of the big guys that are here tonight. So we're just honoured to be a part of it.
But you know what? I was talking with this about someone last year, and actually we had a great year with these online tastings. You know what? When everything went quiet last year, you could even hear a cricket. So even if you are small, when everything is quiet, just make a lot of noise because they will hear from everywhere. So it's a very great analogy, you know. You got a time frame when there's also an opportunity to show yours, and usually the big boys are the ones that are really quiet, you know, like the big marketing company, your Pernod Ricards. As the marketing goes down, even very little companies make a lot of noise back then because the whole background noise is down.
From little things, big things grow, as they say, Jose. From
Thank you, guys.
Dobson Distillery, we were amazed tonight to be joined by the incredible Stephen Dobson. Mate, I can't say how amazing it has been to have you in tonight. Your energy and your ethos is just incredible. So thank you so much for coming in tonight, mate.
He's probably a meeting. Check. Steven, is still there?
Maybe it could be in there still somewhere.
We'll see. Second.
Maybe not.
Oh, yeah,
there
he
he
is.
We can
Come
see
on,
that.
Steven.
We
Unmute,
probably
you
have
gotta
to-
unmute
We
yourself.
probably have to ask to unmute him,
Yeah,
Jose.
there we
Not
go.
everyone has the power.
Making a film.
I'm just gonna spotlight. Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself, Steven. No, you're still muted.
Dido. Well, Stephen, I don't know if you can unmute yourself there, or maybe it's a technical error on our side of things.
Yeah.
But we'll jump to you if we can eventually. But I think
I just muted you. Sorry. Did what you just did. One,
2, 3.
There we go. Yes, you're on.
Okay. It just said to me, the host does not want you to unmute yourself.
We got there.
So
We
I
got
tried.
we got there.
Sorry. Hey guys, amazing night. Thank you so very, very, very much. And I have a question for you.
Yep.
What can we do to help you? These are not easy times for any of us. How can we as producers help you?
To help us. What I was saying. Keep doing what you do. Just be true for what you do. Be true to your distillation, let's say, motto, and always never forget about retail. That's one of the very big things that's been happening. And I would say, honestly, talking with someone a little bit ago, I was thinking, and this is going serious, I was thinking this is pretty much the end of retail, right? Everyone's going online. So high street retail and proper retail, this is the beginning of the end, whatever was there. So whatever is going to keep on existing in the future, whatever is retail going to evolve on, it's going to be concept retail. So having people like you coming into our shop, doing a tasting, creating an experience, and it's all going to be about creating a great customer experience. If you're going to be average, you got no place, people's going to buy online. So continue helping creating experiences like this.
Yeah, and Stephen, you do it no end, mate. And the biggest way, I guess, what our goal is to just represent as many great Australian producers like yourself as we can in the best way possible. So all I can say is keep on doing what you're doing, and I think we'll be okay as well.
Saying that,
thank you so very much.
And adding to what it says, like last year, I remember we had a tasting and we approached one of the large gin distilleries, and the answer back was that we were a complicated customer and they did not decide to work with us. That's not what you do to support retail. What you do to support retail is even create an experience for the customer, because ultimately that's the one.
So it's all about supporting each other. And Stephen, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much, mate.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Cheers, man. We can't wait to do a lot more with Dobson's Distillery in the future. Young Henry's, it was amazing to have Carla, and it looks like you've got a special guest there as well now.
Yeah, sorry, she's a bit needy. It's been great. Sorry?
Is that a schnoodle?
She's a wiry Jack Russell.
Look like a schnoodle.
She looks like a raccoon. Anyway, I'll put it down. Thanks very much for having us. It's been a lot of fun. Glad to hang out with my fella industry peeps. It's been good.
Yeah, it has been amazing and great to have you guys in. Your ethos and your approach to distilling and the amount of effort you're also putting into your sort of footprint in terms of the ecological side of it as well is amazing. So Carla, thank you so much for coming in tonight, and to Francis as well from Young Henry's for putting this together in terms of the ability for us to have this amazing gin here tonight. Thank you so much.
Love yous.
Yeah.
Cheers,
And-
Carla. Absolute legend. And over to the amazing Murray's Brewing Co. Thank you so much for jumping in as well. For those who didn't get to try this amazing gin tonight, you'll have to give it a roll. Carl, a cracking little setup you guys have got going on down there in Murray's situation, and a beautiful gin tonight. So thank you, man.
No worries. Thanks so much for having us. It's been great. Really appreciate it. You're doing a great job. It was good fun tonight, and it was really awesome just to set up to again meet the makers and enjoy their different brews.
Yes,
Like you
Carl.
said, I guess it's a really art form. Everyone's got their own touch, and it's good to hear their side of things. It's great.
Yeah. And I think when you guys open up your little glamping situation going on over there, I'm probably going to come for a week.
Can we do a
won't-
festival?
you won't be
Like,
able to-
can we
you won't be able to
do
get
like
me out of there.
a
I'll be there.
Casa de Vinos festival, glamping, and we get like
I mean, you probably wouldn't have that.
psytrance tent and that.
Okay, let's take it to the next level. So amazing work you guys are doing, and can't wait to keep chatting and getting to know the amazing stuff going at Murray's on the brewing and distilling side. So cheers, Carl.
No worries. Thanks so much, guys. It's been great.
And of course, tonight we were graced by the amazing presence of Archie Rose. And Paul, thank you so much for allowing us to almost have, I guess, the online premiere of this bone dry gin, a cracking gin and an amazing distillery. Where's the bone dry? Oh, it's up there. Everyone just keeps drinking it up here. It's good. Cheers, Paul.
It's gone to Jose's personal stash, apparently. No, Jono, Jose, seriously, thank you so much. Great opportunity. I always hang out for these sessions. It's a pleasure. It's so well put together. We've got a stellar lineup. I got to discover some new gins, so I'm being totally selfish. I've enjoyed myself. But yeah, I would join you even if we weren't in lockdown. So please keep this up.
It's
You're doing a
amazing.
stellar job. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. You're an absolute legend, and Archie Rose, a pioneer in the Aussie distilleries scene with what you guys are doing at the moment. So can't wait to keep on working with you guys and having these amazing spirits, not just here on our online tastings, but in the new shop at Coventry Street where we're able to open up as well. It's going to be cracking. The last distillery we were with tonight, obviously Michael
The boys are there.
and Cam. Thank you so much for joining, guys. You two absolute legends and some sensational spirits as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us. If I can say anything before we go, just thank you again for letting us be a part of this, and so good to see so many familiar faces. Anyone still online, jump on the internet, grab a bottle off any of the amazing distilleries here, support local, support any of the distilleries, keep going. Because at the moment, I know we're all in a hard time, but if we support each other, that's what it's about. So yeah.
And we love being part of the Australian craft distilling. There's so many good distilleries in Australia. Well done, everyone.
Appreciate it, boys. Thank you so much.
Going back to Stephen's question is, and as distillers, and you get to see, like, you just give 2 hours of your time, and we had 120 people, 50 people today, and you make sometimes the night of 150 people for 2 hours of your day. That's why how you're helping here. It's like that, just being out there.
It's so special. And I must say that the biggest thank you of all to the amazing Trish Brew for joining us tonight. We wouldn't really be able to do this properly without Trish. She is the biggest legend in terms of the Australian gin scene.
Trish is the one that believed on us from the beginning. So, it was like, I don't have a hat, otherwise I would take it off. But I don't.
We'll have to get you on.
Yeah, you need to get a hat.
But Trish, thank you so much. And it's been amazing to have you in.
I'll take mine off for Trish.
Yes.
Oh, Gavin, guys, that's so amazing. Thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure to see your beautiful faces and try, your wares. You all do such a great job, and it's a really hard labor, and you do it well. At Field Tree, we always say 3/4 of your drink is the mix and mix it the best, but you guys are the best, and you guys keep these industries going. So thank you so much, and thanks so much for having me. I can't wait for the next one. Woo!
Thank you so much. You're the most amazing person, and absolutely love it. Jose, I think, wants to play a cheeky little song to let everyone out tonight. So we'll have one cheeky song as we say thank you to
That's
everyone
just
for joining
a
tonight.
goodbye song, and it's a song that I always loved, and I don't know. I love for Australia, I think. And this is quite what embraces everything that we've done with a lot of the people that we are here. We never tear us apart.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining tonight. Dance for 30 seconds before we go.
Social dancing, everyone.
Here
Guys,
we go. What's different?
We hope
Thank you, everyone.
wherever you are tonight, you're able to sit back in your lounge room and enjoy your GMT and those around you. And we love doing this. And thank you so much for joining in and doing.
Thank you very much. Look forward to see everyone else on Coventry Street.
All right. Guys, we love you guys. Cheers. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend, and look forward to
see
seeing
you
everyone on
very
South
soon.
Australian Tasting.
I miss everyone already.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. We love you all.